Jen. I just wanted to bring you a quick core workout that you can do at home with no equipment other than yourself. I do have a mat here, but that's about it. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna work for about 8 minutes in total. Some of this will be on your backs, some of it will be on your sides, some will be in a plank position. And I'm gonna indicate some modifications that you can use throughout. So we will go ahead and start actually from that plank position. So you can see I have my little extra mat here. I'm using that just to take a little pressure off my wrist. So if you are also prone to issues with that, one thing that you can do is actually elevate this part of your hand from the heel part of your hand up towards your fingertips, and that'll take some of the pressure off your wrist. So from here, from that beginning plank position, right, make sure that you're spreading that effort out across your entire body. Again, from your heels to the backs of your thighs, draw the ribs in and down, and then again, keep your gaze forward towards your fingertips and the back of your head lifted. So I'm just gonna hold this really simple plank for about 30 seconds in total, and then I'm gonna add what we call a shoulder tap. So essentially with that shoulder tap, all you're doing is lifting one hand off the floor and tapping the opposite shoulder. Now you'll notice as you do this, that it's very likely that your hips are gonna wanna rotate from side to side. So again, a little movement is fine, but what you don't want to happen is this routine, right? Because then we know that our core is not working. And we've got a little momentum going. So we're gonna do 3 more, each side. Good, and then on that last one, come on down to your knees, take a moment. And then we'll bring it down to an elbow plank. Like on a personal note, I prefer elbow planks. I actually find them more challenging to my core. But again, the main rule of thumb here is to keep your forearms parallel to each other, the shoulders open, the back of the head lifting, the chin away from the chest. And one thing that you can do to just add a little bit more intensity to your plank is to pull your elbows more towards your toes, but also pull your toes towards your elbows. So in that way you create almost like a locking mechanism. Fire up your glutes and your low belly with your tailbone long and hold this here for another 10 seconds. Steady breath in and out. 5 seconds. And knees down. Maybe stretch out and take a little child's pose. All right, let's bring it on to side plank. Again, basic side plank. If you have any issues with your shoulders, you can always elevate that elbow and it takes some of the pressure off. Otherwise, you're gonna bring that forearm parallel to the front of your mat. Come up into your side plank. Modified side plank, keep your knees bent and just keep both knees together and that bottom leg pushing into the floor. So there's your basic modified side plank. If you're looking for something a little bit more challenging, bring the top leg in front of you or stack the feet. So I'm gonna hold that stacked foot side plank, keeping the bottom waist lifted and the chest open. One thing I noticed a lot in classes is a little bit of the rotation forward. You wanna try to get rid of that as best you can. So the way I think of it is I'm pushing my chest this way, right, toward the top of my mat. And I'm gonna hold here for 10 seconds. Steady breath in and out. Again, really simple, right? But those isometrics really are super effective at building core strength. We'll come down and switch sides. So again, pick the version that works best for you, whether the knee is bent, the top leg is there for support, or you're stacked. Either way, we're up here and we're holding for 30 seconds. So I talked a little bit before about, where to think about or how to make sure that those shoulders are stacked upon each other. Lean back maybe a little bit. Almost imagine that you're pressing those shoulder blades into the wall behind you. And let's hold here for another 10 seconds. Again, notice your breathing. Breathing's super key here. 3, 2, and 1. Hips down. Come to lie down on your back. All right. So I told you we'd be in a big circle. All right, start with your knees bent. Basic crunch. Again, one of the things that I see with crunches is oftentimes students want to come up really far in their crunch. You don't need to come up that far to make it effective. What I want you to think more in terms of is pulling the ribs. You can front ribs, you can see them kind of poking out of my shirt. I want to use my exhalation to draw the ribs in and down as I lift up. So when I do that, only the bottoms of my shoulders are coming off the mat. My neck stays relaxed, and as you can see, I'm opting to just cross my arms over my chest. If you have a little, if you need a little support for your neck, by all means, just take your hands behind your head, but try to avoid any pulling on the back of your head. And you'll notice when you go slow, you might get a little bit more out of it if you slow it down and keep your hands in front of you. All right, we'll do 4 more. Good, taking time to breathe. And last one. All right, let's roll it on down. Hands by your sides. Bring your legs up into tabletop position. So, heel taps. This exercise from the outset would look very simple. The first thing I want you to check is to make sure that your lower back is flush with the mat and that your upper shoulder blades, your upper back, is in contact with the mat as best as you can. On your inhale, take a big breath in, and then on your exhale, lower down and just tap one heel on the floor. Just stop right there. Notice what you feel. Can you keep that low back in contact with the mat? That should be the first yes, right? So we're gonna alternate through with these heel taps for 10 each side. Steady on the exhale, steady on the inhale. And again, for most people, this exercise is one of those things where it's like sort of challenging. I like it because it brings awareness, right? It brings awareness of what your own patterns are with, whether you tend to move too quickly, whether you let your back arch. So what you can do to make it more challenging, and if you notice, I'm gonna shorten my range of motion a little bit. So I'm gonna keep my heels just a little closer to the floor, and I'm not even gonna bring them up as far. And when I do that, the tension on my abs remains. I don't really get a rest on this. Here's 5, 3, and 2, and 1. Terrific. Knees to chest. All right, let's keep these knees bent, arms out wide. I always like to say like an airplane. If you notice where your hands go, real quick tip. If you tend to be tight in the chest and kind of have rounded shoulders, one thing that you might find helpful is to open up your palms so they face the ceiling and make sure that your wrists are about level with your shoulders. With your legs at a 90-degree angle, make sure that those knees are not up in your belly, but they're more over your hip sockets. Allow your legs to drift to the right till the outside edge of your heel hits the ground, and then lift up and over. So basic windshield wiper. As I'm doing this, again, you can see my pace of movement is on the slower side. I love to actually use this exercise a lot as a warm-up because it does give you that little gentle spinal twist. I think of it like a combination between nice oblique work, but also a little bit of a stretch. If you want it to be more challenging, you just go towards straighter legs, right? You make that center of gravity change all together, right, with those straight legs. So I've just amped it up a little bit. And I'm gonna do 1 more each side. All right, come back to center. Bend your knees. All right, so the last exercise in this series is your basic bicycle crunch. Again, bicycle crunch is one of those exercises that I see becomes some key things that I think you should watch out for in your own body. So number 1 on the setup, try taking your hands behind your head, and when you interlace your hands together, just put them right at the base of your neck so that it's more of a hammock rather than that your head is resting in, rather than you trying to lift your head away from the floor with the strength of your upper body. Come back to 90-degree bend with your legs. Take a breath in, exhale it out, drop one leg down. Notice my leg is really pretty close to the floor. The second thing you want to look for is you want to make sure that those ribs are smoothed in and down. And number 3, that your lower back is flush with the mat. When you go to twist, just turn your shoulder to the outside of your knee. Switch sides. And again, I'm deliberately doing this slow so you can see the activity, you can see the form. Yeah, this is one of those exercises that generally speaking, people try to speed up, and then the form kind of takes a digger, if you know what I'm saying. So I am going to pick up the pace a little bit. I'm going to exhale. Inhale as I switch, exhale as I turn. Again, making that exhalation a little bit louder so you can hear what I'm actually exhaling. 6, and 5, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. All All right, you guys, that was it. That was 8 minutes of core. You're already done, see? So look forward to part 2 of this video. I'm gonna take some of those movements, amplify them a little bit, make them a little bit more challenging, and we'll see you next time.